So Social Security is going to start to look a little bit different, or especially the fight for additional Social Security benefits and eliminating Social Security income taxes. Today I want to break down what's going on, what the Trump administration is doing, and how millions and millions of Americans are going to be impacted because of the decisions that are currently being made. So I'm going to break all this down in just a moment, but all I ask is one thing. Takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now let's begin. So it's crazy to think that we are still talking about changes to Social Security. Last year in 2024, that was supposed to be a big time for Social Security, but we weren't going to see changes. This year in 2025, under the new Trump administration, many people expected we were going to see cuts. Well, guess what? The Trump administration says no, we are not going to cut Social Security benefits. We are not going to raise the full retirement age. But what are they going to do? Well, I want to show you this. Look at this right here. This thing says, cut taxes or save Social Security, the $5 trillion question. Now, what does this mean? Well, this is from the Brookings Institute, and I was reading through this, and I thought this was very interesting. Okay, I want to read a little bit of this to you. Look at this. It says right here, we live in a world of trade-offs, and the looming debate in Washington will decide how trillions of dollars in government cash is spent. Republican lawmakers and President Donald Trump are eager to make permanent the provisions of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017 that expire at the end of this year. This would prove quite expensive according to the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office. It would raise deficits by more than $5 trillion through 2035. As Republicans finalize their tax proposals, it is worth asking what else could be done with those trillions. The answer? A lot. $5 trillion, we could bolster national defense, expand the child tax credit, and reduce child poverty, fix the infrastructure, pay down the deficit, the list goes on, including making sure Social Security remains solvent. Here's the problem. If we see the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act go through, and according to the Trump administration, they want to do that in this reconciliation bill that they're currently working on. They are going to pass and extend the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, which means for millions of people, you are going to receive a little bit more on your paycheck simply because at the end of the year, you're not going to have to pay as much in actual income taxes on the federal level. That's good news there. But there's going to be, again, a deficit if we don't figure out a way to pay for this. Now, this is where things get interesting. How is Social Security tied up with the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act? Well, here's what I can tell you. Even if the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act didn't go through and the Republican Party was not able to pass it, there would be nothing for Social Security. The reason why this is so difficult at this time is because the Trump administration is trying to do several different steps all at once. And that's where, when you look at it, it's just going to create additional inflation. For instance, just the other day, we learned that the Trump administration imposed a 25% tax on Canada and Mexico, an additional 10% tax on China. That's just going to create additional inflation here in the U.S., but it's actually going to bring in additional revenue from a lot of these companies. It's going to bring more businesses back to the United States eventually. But here's the bigger thing. The Trump administration is also discussing passing an additional tariff on the EU, but also imposing a tariff on the BRICS nations, which means a 100% tariff on countries like Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, along with other nations as well that are part of the BRICS nations. But I bring this up because if we impose all these additional tariffs and we're bringing in all this revenue, then we could pay for those tax cuts. So then we wouldn't have a $5 trillion deficit. And then we could look to how are we going to solve the Social Security crisis? Well, here's what they're discussing today. They're discussing eliminating Social Security income taxes for beneficiaries. This means that you're not going to have to pay income tax on your benefits. Currently, there are some taxes that you will have to pay if you make over a certain amount of money per year. For many people, they do hit that threshold, which means they are paying. Here's the other thing. The Trump administration is also looking at ways to incentivize older Americans to go back to work. Even if you are collecting your Social Security beneficiaries or benefits every single month, they are now going to potentially, there's discussions on this, to incentivize older workers that are collecting benefits to go back to work, to just work part-time, work 10, 20, 30 hours a week if you can, if you are able to. If you are a working or able working body, you can go back to work, make a paycheck, great. And maybe they incentivize you with no taxes, right? We're going to have to wait and see. All I can tell you right now is the discussions are being had. The problem is there's so many different things that they're trying to do all at once. Keep in mind, today is February 2nd. Donald Trump stepped into office on January 20th. That's what, 12 days ago? Okay, 13 days ago? That's not very long. So in less than 2 weeks, the Trump administration has already made some massive changes. Yes, it has a lot of other countries very upset, but at the same time, these changes could benefit us in the future. Now, I want to get to one other thing. Okay, what we continue to hear is Elon Musk's name, the Department of Government Efficiency. How is this going to impact us? Well, here's what I can tell you. There is something on the table that is that federal workers, about 2 million of them, have just received an offer over the past several days where they can accept this voluntary resignation. It's kind of like it's a deferred resignation where they accept it today or before February 6th, and they can get paid for like 33 weeks, all the way until September 30th. They get paid and they get all their benefits. They get 33 weeks of benefits and pay, and they don't have to come into the office. The purpose behind this, according to reports and from the Department of Government Efficiency, is that if we can eliminate all this waste, right? 6% of federal workers work in the office. Everyone else works at home. They work remotely. They telecommute, whatever it is, right? They do different things. But we are paying for all these federal buildings that are sitting empty. We're paying for all these employees that some are actually working multiple jobs, which according to Donald Trump is illegal. And so they're doing all these different things. Well, according to the Department of Government Efficiency, if we eliminated, let's say, just 10% of the federal workforce, okay, let's say we just eliminate 200,000 workers, right? That means all those salaries, and again, it's not going to be immediate, and it's going to be painful over the next 33 weeks. But come October, the federal government's going to have a surplus of money. We're going to have so much extra money because we are eliminating the use of some of these office buildings, so maybe we can sell them, right? We can eliminate many jobs that are actually just a repeat of another person's job. They're just taking on their additional responsibilities, right? 2 people doing the same thing, same tasks. Is it really necessary? Probably not. But again, if we can do these little things, make these adjustments, and again, like I said, the Trump administration just imposed a tariff on Canada and Mexico of 25%. Well, unfortunately, Canada and Mexico responded with a retaliatory offer of Canada's going to impose a 25% tariff on the United States. Well, according to reports, Canada is going to falter much faster than the United States, meaning they will likely bend and break before the U.S. does. Again, this could be good news in the future, but as of today, again, it's just more pain. So I'm just here to tell you there are discussions being had for Social Security. According to reports, the Trump administration is adamant on saving Social Security. This is something that Donald Trump wants to do. Ensure that 70 plus million Americans continue to receive a monthly check after the insolvency date of 2034, 2035. So we'll see what happens. But that's what we know as of today. There's some major changes that are coming, but we have to be patient. So as I get more information on this, I promise I'll bring you all the latest news and updates. But that's what we know as of today. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.